What's good, YouTube? It's your boy NYC Mike, man, and I'm back with another video. Today we're gonna be reacting to a debate between Hafeez Boku and Just Pearly Things. They're basically debating about the red pill, and like I told you on my previous video, I'm going to make a video updating y'all on the red pill and the update for this channel, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, I ain't gonna waste y'all time. We're gonna get straight into the video, but I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and most of all, turn on those post notifications so you get notified when I upload a new video. So without further ado, we're gonna hop straight into it.
You have to ask yourself, are you teaching any ideas? Like, is there any principles that your belief system is teaching? Because every human being's belief system teaches an ideas, right? And so for me, when I see that there are certain ideas and premises that are being taught, therefore you cannot simply say we are not an ideology. There is no ideals that represent the things that we believe. And so an example of what are some of the things I disagree with, I think I primarily disagree with a lot of times the descriptions of marriage, and just how they analyze and describe marriage in today's world. I think I disagree with the analysis of male-female nature. I think if you were to read a book like The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss, he's a world-leading expert on human evolutionary psychology in regards to mating, and he's fantastic. Buss School of Psychology is amazing, and you actually read a person who's like a world-renowned expert on this topic, and you hear about all the nuance. And I love Dr. Buss because Dr. Buss understands the nuance and the cross-cultural studies and so much data. And you were to read some of the more red pill, doctrinal books, you'd be like, wow, like it's literally like reading Dr. Seuss and reading something like Hamlet. It's like night and day difference. And so to me, I think I acknowledge that a lot of their ideas are truthful, like any ideology, right? Or whatever the heck word they're using nowadays to convince people that's not an ideology. Yes, those things there's truthfulness in it, but there's a whole lot of lies and a whole lot of information that is not statistically accurate. And that's why I've always recommended people to read books like The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss, and then simply read whatever red pill literature that you want and juxtapose those two ideas.
Yo, bro, I love Hafeez. I do love Hafeez, but man, oh man, when he goes on a tangent, he goes on a tangent. Now listen, I'm not saying that I disagree with anything that he's saying. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that he does point out and say, I do tend to agree with. But of course, there are times when I disagree with him. I'm really just wondering, like, when is he gonna get straight to the point? Like, you know what I'm saying? He's kind of going off on a tangent right now. So I kind of wish, he would get straight to the point. I want to see how Just Pearly's going to respond to this, so we're going to continue the video.
And you'd be extremely astonished at the differences.
Well, it's just because everything you're saying is very broad.
Yeah.
So you even said, like, their teachings on marriage, because, like, from my understanding of Red Pill is that they're not anti-marriage or pro-marriage. They're anti-marriage as it is today and the way the laws are today. And do you disagree with that? So
I'm gonna give you an example,
okay.
And I'm excited because I'm really excited about the way you're processing this.
Yeah.
So let's go into marriage. So here's a fundamental challenge, okay? So red pill is very broad.
Okay.
Very broad, right?
Really? I don't think so, actually.
You don't think so?
No.
So do you think a person like Alpha Male Strategies teaches the same exact ideas as Coach Greg Adams?
I know more about Alpha Male Strategies than Coach Greg Adams.
Okay.
I haven't watched a lot of Coach Greg.
Okay.
AMS, he's like, the fuck these hoes to sleep type.
Yeah, but he's evolved. That's old school AMS.
I don't know. If a guy tells me he watches AMS, I'm like, I gotta run.
Yeah, but even to that point, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, I gotta run.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of there's individuals like Steffes Cole. I'm not sure if Steffes Cole still calls himself Red Pill, but you have the Steffes Cole guys.
Right.
A lot different than Coach Red Pill.
Okay.
A lot different.
Okay.
So what I'm articulating is that within the red pill umbrella, there's a diversity of individuals.
Yeah.
There's far right, there's guys who are a little bit more balanced. So what usually happens when we're having this conversation,
That is true. I will say that there are some red pill creators that are more like in the middle, like neutral. You get what I'm saying? And then you have some red pill content creators that are like very extreme with it. You know what I'm saying? So That I agree with. He's not lying about that. That is true. You know what I'm saying? Not all red pill content creators think the same. If you believe that all pill content creators think the exact same way, you are an idiot, bro. They do not all think the same. You get what I'm saying? Now, they may agree a lot on when it pertains to red pill, but they're not all exactly 100% on the same page. So I do definitely agree with that.
Requires so much nuance, and I'm glad we're able to dive into it, is that when you're describing the red pill, what people want to do is one of two things. You either want to steel man them or you want to straw man them. Mm-hmm. The argument that you're probably feeling like, and some people may feel like, is I straw man them, right? You pick the worst ideas of the red pill, the worst content creators, and then you define the red pill as that. But then on the flip side is a steel man, where you find some of their best, brightest ideas, ignore all the negativity, nonsense ideas, and define that as red pill.
No, I mean, to me, it's like there's a base set of ideas, and people have different ideas of what to do with it.
Who defines the base set of ideas?
I would say that I think that's mostly who defines the base. I would say Rollo Tomassi. I think he seems to be like leading that like today, but before it seems like it was Patrice O'Neal possibly.
So you think Patrice O'Neal was?
No, I think a lot of like. It seems like a lot of ideas derived from him, but it seems like it goes around Rollo Tomassi. That's what it seems like.
So the interesting part of the conversation, going back to the red pill conversation, because I know you want to talk about this, is that there is no single source. There's no doctrinal source. There's a lot of individuals who've written their books and shared their ideas as red pill, and depending on what school of thought you're in, a lot of individuals will say, well, that's not red pill for me. He's not red pill for me. Maybe in your world, he's red pill for you. And some people red pill for them might be Coach Greg Adams. People red pill for them might be Fresh and Fit. People red pill for them might be AMS. People red pill for them might be Coach Red Pill. People red pill for them might
be. But they all seem to say the same ideas.
Well, yes.
Yeah. It's like, so I'm just like, if we're gonna say they're different, like what is different?
Okay, so in regards to each individual, I can't get into the nuances of each individual. So there are some individuals who are, when it comes to marriage, are explicitly marriage. I think the whole institution of marriage in the Western world is done. It's over. It doesn't work. It's a failed system. X, Y.
I agree.
X, Y, and Z. Cool. So that's why red pill aligns to you, because those emotional sentiments rock with you. So then it's
not emotional. It's because of the way it is legally.
100%. So those legal sentiments rock with you, and we can get into how does those things.
No, just Pearly. She's funny, man. She's funny.
Well, I do believe that in the sanctity and beauty of marriage, and if you're gonna do marriage outside of the state, I'm all for it, right? So some people is like, even with or without the state, institution is broken, women are broken, society is broken, doesn't even matter. Then some people are like, well, outside of the state, I support it, I agree with it.
It seems like their prescriptions are different, but their description is the same. Typically. So like they'll say these are the flaws in women, these are the flaws in marriage, but like they have different prescriptions. So some people will still go through with it with a prenup, and other people will say screw it all together.
And so prescribing a behavior is telling people what to do, and telling people what to do also creates a form of an ideology. So if I say I have 10 rules that I believe men should follow, and then say I have no ideology, that doesn't make any sense. So to me, an ideology isn't a bad thing. I have an ideology. You have an ideology. Every human has an ideology. So my biggest argument is not that the ideology is bad, but don't lie and say that you don't have an ideology when we all have an ideology. So in regards to your original question about the red pill, I believe a lot of what they say is half truths. And like I said, for example, if you really analyze
that, I agree with. I would have to agree with that. A lot of the things that these red pill content creators, not a lot of the things, but some of the things that they say are not the full truth. They're not the full truth. So I do agree with that. But I also would say that a lot of the things that these red pill content creators say are factual as well. You get what I'm saying? Now, I don't know where Hafeez is going with to this point, because he's kind of like going off on a tangent. You know what I'm saying? I really want to hear more of just Pearly. She's not really talking as much. She's just kind of like listening to him. Just nothing necessarily wrong with that. But I really am just curious to see what she has to say.
Human and a male nature, female nature there's a lot of really dark and disturbing things about female nature when you can get to the rawness of it, right? And if you were an individual and you were simply communicating those raw, dark truths about what was true, it could be very simple to realize that, wow, man, these are really, really bad things.
I'll give you an example. Felons have 30% more children than non-felons.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I don't. So you just threw out a number.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. You have nothing to back it up. So another example is, I'm sorry, we got to stop there. What happens in this community? What happens with the people who have this school of thought? They'll throw out numbers. Where did that stat come from?
Where did it come from?
Where did it come from?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but it's easy to Google.
I know
like
it's easy. If
you Google it, it's like at the top of Google.
It's easy to Google, right?
Yeah.
But the reality of the matter is, when people are sharing their statistics and numbers, a lot of times they don't know. They can't even tell you the primary source. So
right, because it's like off the top of your head, you're not going to know. Like
100%.
Right
But why should I believe you? Why should I believe you?
Yeah, okay, but if I'm saying if I got you the stat, I could look it up now.
I know you could look.
Yeah.
You can take your time. You can pause the episode. You can look it up. But my point is that a lot of times in this community, they'll throw statistics and data at you. You're not privy to this.
Now, that I disagree with. Now, when it comes to statistical data and, just facts, right? You're better off throwing out statistics and data than just coming off from emotion. You get what I'm saying? So, I think where Hafiz is going with this is that he's basically trying to say that if I was to just throw out statistics and data at you without really knowing exactly where the statistics came from, then he's basically saying, why should I be inclined to believe you if you're just throwing out random numbers at me? But I would argue that most of the time, people are not going to know exactly where the statistics come from. And let's just be real. I'm the type of person, like, if I throw out statistics and data for, that proves something, right? The person that I'm telling it to, I will always tell them, search it up. I'm not just making this up. You get what I'm saying? If you're not believing me from what I'm telling you, just search it up. Go on Google, search it up. Because that's where I got it from. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I'll tell you to search it up. That's the difference between me and these other people that just throw out statistics and data. Like, I'll tell you to search up the statistics. You get what I'm saying? But it's up to you whether you want to search it up or not. You get what I'm saying? So that I disagree with. Like, there's nothing wrong with people throwing out statistics and data to back up their claims. It's actually the better route to go. Because when you just go off by emotion, then why should I be inclined to believe you if you're just going off by how you feel? I'm not going to lie, Hafiz, you're coming off as very emotional to me right now. And I'm not saying that you are being emotional, but it comes off as you're coming from an emotional standpoint. It's about how you feel and not really about what it is. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, I kind of disagree with you, Hafiz, on that. I'm sorry.
Data.
Yeah.
Some of it is true, some of it is false, right? I can go into some of the truths and false as well. And so because
of
you're
course,
not able to simply look things up,
not all statistical data is true. Let's just be real. But most of the time it is true. But that's common sense though. Like come on now.
In a conversation where you're like, okay, I'm gonna give this person the benefit of the doubt, but if the data is simply skewed by sheer numbers, it can totally dispel whether communicating the truth or not.
Yeah, but it's easy to just like Google it.
I know, but what I'm saying is, listen carefully. If you and I are having a podcast conversation and you have 15 data points that justify your worldview, but you don't know the source, you don't know the primary, secondary source, we could stop this episode and every time you pull up numbers, we could look at it, you can look them up, you can pull them up, you can show it to me, but that's going to take too long. So usually in conversations like this, you're not able to do so. So therefore what you're forced to do in these conversations is whenever someone gives you a statistic, the individual's called to believe it. And I've seen that happen myself because I'm a data person as well. You've consumed my content, so you know some of it. I'm a data person myself, so when I share data, there's times where I'm like, oh, well, that number was wrong. But because we're in the middle of a conversation, people simply believe me. And so to me,
which is fine, then you just update it.
I know, but in the midst of the conversation, when we're having these conversations and when we're sharing all these data, a lot of
people... I understand what Hafiz is saying. Statistics are not always just like at a standstill, if that makes sense. They're not always just the same. Like, statistics go up and down as time goes on. Statistics are always going up and down. They're always either progressing or degressing. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, of course, statistics are not always going to be the same all the time. You feel me? As time goes on, those statistics may change. That's why it's called statistics. You get what I'm saying? So, it's just... I feel like just Pearly, she should have phrased it like that so he can, like, kind of, like, just stop talking about this. Like, we get it, you know?
Will spew data and numbers
I
that they don't
sometimes,
even, it could be truly false.
I understand sometimes misinformation happens.
100%, and it's not perfect. I'm not saying you're trying to deceive me, but what I'm saying is that there has to be a level of accountability when we're saying this is the truth. So for one of the things that I've been improving on in regards to my speech is that if I share a number, if I really don't know the primary source or I'm not willing to pull it up immediately, right, I'll say, well, you know what, I think this is the number, or I'm not sure this is the number. But what happens is when you say 110%, this is true. The divorce rate in America is 50%. It's true. And then you share these explicit narratives, and then when you simply analyze them and break them down, you realize that's not the case.
Yeah, but then you switch it. But I don't think it's wrong to just say a number.
It's nothing wrong.
And then I look it up and it's right. Like I've looked that up before.
But that's not what I think you're getting lost. You're getting lost in the specific point. I'm talking about the meta point. The meta point is that when people are communicating statistics, the audience is totally dependent upon the orator. And if that person says, I am the bearer of the truth, a lot of times in the midst of a conversation, a lot of people communicate numbers that may or may not be true. So my biggest thing is that when a lot of these individuals are communicating numbers, I'm the kind of person where I'm like, hey, let's stop, let's analyze them, and let's see whether they're true or not.
Is there a common talking point that isn't true that you're thinking of?
I think one of the biggest conversations that is not discussed is how marriage has changed from the 90s till today.
Okay, go on.
If you look up the divorce rates, divorce rates have been decreasing from the 1990s until today. There's a lot of different studies and a lot of different analyzation.
Go on.
A lot of different. So, are you listening or are you trying to talk?
I'm listening.
I'm curious.
I'm listeking.
Because you kind of seem like you're waiting for me to stop talking so you can say something.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay. So, in regards to the divorce numbers, a lot of the divorce numbers that are communicated today, they're not. Those are a lot.
Yo, bro, Hafiz, I mess with you, man. I really do. I like your content, but relax, okay? Chill out. You know what I'm saying? Just Pearly, she's not. Just Pearly, she's not like these other women that are like very emotional and immature in a conversation. She's actually very mature for a woman. You get what I'm saying? She's actually very mature, and she's been letting you talk for a minute, bro. You get what I'm saying? Let's just get that out the way. She's been letting you talk for a minute. You kind of going on a tangent, my boy. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that I disagree completely with anything that Hafiz has said. Obviously, I did agree with some of the points he said, but he's kind of, doing a little too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I barely heard her speak. You know what I'm saying? It's been mostly him talking most of the time. You feel me?
All previous numbers. And when you're factoring into the trends that are leading to the lowering of divorce rates, as well as all the different cross-cultural analysis of divorces, there's a lot that can be learned about divorces. So in regards to the Western world and a lot of the divorces having issues, they're 100% right. But we have to communicate. Well, here's the reality. The divorce rate has been going down. And why has the divorce rate been going down? And the reason why the divorce rate is going down is because we've learned a lot of different things about marriage, about divorce, about why did the divorce rate skyrocket initially in 1970s to begin with. And so there's a lot of, when you hear a number, statistics are great under the broad scope of a conversation. But when you're really trying to dive deeper into what's going on in today's society, statistics tell you a story. Right? So once you understand the story behind the number, then you can understand why the number is practical. So in my question is, so one of the biggest things that we've worked on is that if we're going to give a number, we want to also tell the story behind the number and how is that beneficial to improving the lives of people today. And so to me, that's one of my different points of view is that if you're simply holding on to any worldview and the worldview is communicating certain things that may or not be true or may not be painting the whole picture, is this for the purpose of benefiting society, or is it for the purpose of perpetuating a narrative?
Wouldn't you say that the divorce rate's going down because people aren't getting married as much?
So think about it right this. Like, divorce rate is by percentage. So let's do some numbers, because you seem like a very analytical girl, logical girl. Let's talk about some numbers.
Thank you.
So if the system of marriage is broken, right, and 1,000 people get married.
Oh, I see. The rate would still be. I see.
Okay.
I see.
So let's do it for the people, right? Remember, the red pill argument is the system is broken. So that means anyone who engages in this institution, whether or not you do it, it's broken. It's not going to work. It's going to lead to a 50% divorce rate. So if 1,000 people get married, therefore it should be 50% divorce rate. But then if 900 people get divorced, and 10 years later, instead of the 1,000, 10 years ago, now 900 people get married, and that divorce rate is 40, not 50 where it was before. The question that must be asked is, these 100 people, why did that number change? If the system was broken, and therefore, whether it's 1,000, 900, 800, 1,200, 1,100, it should be the same thing. But if the number went down, but then the divorce rate decreased by percentage, why did it go down? Who was not getting married? And how were they contributing to the increase of divorce rates in the past? And that's why I said the numbers will tell you a story. And if you don't know the full story, you don't know how the number is relevant to the lives of everyday people. And that's what I'm passionate about. I want to keep on saying it. A lot of the red pill arguments are true. A lot of them are true, mixed with a whole lot of lies. And we have to be honest. There is an ideological bent, and there is a for-profit bent for the ideologies. But if we're simply going to stop there and not do a deep dive in analyzing the study, if we don't sit down and analyze every single statistic number and juxtapose it with the leading experts in the world who are also studying these things, we don't have a full, complete message to share to men and women for the benefit of society. Because to me, if we're genuinely saying that the red pill message is the truth, if it is indeed the truth, or an attempt to convey the truth should only make society better. It should only make men better. It should only make women better. It should only create a better world for us. And so to me, when I see an ideology, when I see a praxicology, whatever the heck they're calling it nowadays, when I see a worldview, and I'm looking at it, I'm analyzing it, and I'm understanding it, and I'm seeing all people who are leaders in it, and I'm seeing the inconsistencies in what they say and what they do, I'm saying that there's a deeper conversation with the numbers, and there's a deeper conversation with this type of information that is not being discussed, and I'm glad we're doing it right now.
To me, it's like if it goes from 50% to 40%, who cares? That's right. Let me
Go ahead.
Because to me, people aren't getting together. They looked at the getting married rate is lower than it's ever been. So it's like to me, it's just like men are getting a bad deal today. And they're signing a contract where women are paid to leave and take the kids. And to me, that's just, and especially in the UK, like I live in London, like girls, like your child support's literally dependent on how much you have the kids. So you're literally paid to take the kids away.
Okay.
So like to me, it's just like a bad deal. And even if you sign a contract and it's a 40% versus 50%, that's still not great.
You first and foremost, let's not be deceptive, right?
Okay.
You cannot.
I'm not being deceptive.
If you understand statistics, you cannot say a 10% decrease in the likelihood of something happening isn't a big deal. If there was a drug or if there was a disease, and we say, the disease has a 50%. Let me finish. You told me not to cut you off. I'm not going to cut you off. Because I understand what you're trying to do right now. I was under the impression of this would be a certain kind of conversation, but I'm getting what you're doing right now. So if you want to make the conversation the way you want to make this conversation, it's no problem. So like I was saying.
Okay, I'm done with this video. I'm done with this video. I pretty much get what they're arguing about. You get what I'm saying? I get it. Statistics, data, marriage, blah, 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 right? I get it. I'm going to get my final thoughts, man. So this is how I look at it, right? I agree with some of the points Hafiz says, but I also agree with Just Pearly. Just Pearly is right, though. A 10% difference is not really a big deal. You get what I'm saying? It's not a huge big deal. It's a change. It's a difference. Ain't nobody denying that. It's definitely a difference. But it's not a huge difference. As opposed to 80% to like 40%. Now that's a huge difference. You get what I'm saying? But a 50 to 40%, not really a big difference. Either way, men are not getting married, regardless. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's what just Pearly was basically just trying to point out. Like, either way, even if there is a 10% decrease, men are not getting married regardless, because, you know, the marriage system is against men. You feel me? So I think that's really the reason why most men are not getting married today, because the system is against them. And it's, you know, it's in benefit for the woman instead of the man. And that is true. You get what I'm saying? I mean, let's just be real. Most women initiate divorces. You get what I'm saying? So, of course, it's going to be more beneficial for a woman, you feel me, to get a divorce than a man. You know what I'm saying? You know, a man has more of a risk of losing everything than a woman does. You get what I'm saying? So, it's just... And that's just true. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Hafeez... Boy, oh boy, this dude was going on a tangent, bro. This dude was going on a rant, bro. You get what I'm saying? I could tell he's really passionate about this stuff. He really is. He's really passionate about this stuff. For real, for real. You get what I'm saying? But I think the perspective that Hafeez is coming from is just that, you know, he just doesn't like how the red pill content creators, they talk down on marriage. Like, because he's a marriage dude. Like, he's very passionate about it. He seems like he's traditional in a sense. You get what I'm saying? You know, he's a big advocate for marriage. You know what I'm saying? Which is nothing wrong with that. You feel me? There's nothing wrong with marriage. And red pill content creators don't talk down on marriage. I will say that. They don't talk down on marriage. They just point out the disadvantages of marriage. That's really what it is. I feel like this debate is just pointless at this point. It's pointless. You know, people are gonna believe what they're gonna believe regardless. It is what it is. You feel me? But yeah, man, that's the end of the video, man. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see ya on the next reaction.